Hello everyone, my name is Don, the movie reviewer, and today we're going to be talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp.
So, how long have you been Ant-Man again?
Not long. It just sort of happened.
I wish I could fight bad guys like you.
Get loose now. No. You go low, I'll go high.
I have wings. Why would I go low?
I remember watching the first Ant-Man movie not too long ago actually. I even saw it when it first came out, and when it first came out I was a bit curious about it. I wasn't sure what to make of it. I was like, really? Now we got an Ant-Man, a person who shrinks? Come on, what is this? Honey, I Shrunk the Kids? I would say that my only problem with the first Ant-Man movie is I just thought that the script was a bit too simple. It was simplistic. It was just go from point A to point B with no real amount of effort, and I was kind of disappointed about that, but I still overall enjoyed the movie and had fun with it. I know a lot of people continue to say that, hey, what if Edgar Wright had stayed on the project and he was able to direct the movie that he envisioned, but then him and Marvel had a disagreement and that's why he got kicked off the project. But apparently some sprinkles of his script still remained within the first Ant-Man movie. Who knows what could have happened with that, but I did enjoy that movie, and now we are at Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is the second Ant-Man movie, and this is right after the events of Infinity War. Or you could say that this movie, I think, in my opinion anyway, does take place during Infinity War. I enjoyed Ant-Man and the Wasp. I will say that Ant-Man and the Wasp is better than the Ant-Man movie. And the reason being is because I feel like this definitely has a more family dynamic approach to it, to where the first movie did have that approach. You know, he's like, I want to be a good father to my daughter, but I didn't really get a sense of their relationship as a whole. Like, yeah, there were scenes where he's talking about his daughter, there were scenes where his daughter was defending him, but I didn't feel that just overall connection and scenes with them being together. Now, I will say that in this movie, Ant-Man and the Wasp, there are a lot of scenes of him and his daughter together, and those are the best scenes in the movie. To me, it seems like, it's showing how families, especially dads, should behave towards their children. It's like, yes, you can discipline your children, you can be a strict parent or father, but in order to be a person who lets your child have fun in times when, they're just a kid, let them have fun, let them live their lives, and let them be creative, So in order for a parent or father to do that, I feel they also have to be a child at heart. A father just has to be a child at heart in order to really bond with their children, because their children's minds are just starting to develop, and yes, you can be serious and teach them a lot of things which they need to be taught, but at the same time, you need to have fun with them. You need to make them laugh and smile and have a good time, and you need to be a child at heart in order to do that, I feel. And it just showcased that. Like, at the very beginning of the movie, we see a beautiful scene with Paul Rudd and the girl who plays his daughter, and it's just beautiful. It made me cry a little bit because he plays such a good role, she plays such a good role, and the two of them together are magic on screen, and I do wish we had more scenes with those two together. The action in this movie is spectacular. The special effects that showcase the action are spectacular. Just seeing the Wasp in here and her action scenes and her being a badass and her, just getting small and doing all of these cool things are amazing. I loved all the action scenes in this movie. I would say that the movie, much like the first movie, kind of has like a heist vibe to it. To me, it kind of felt like a mixture of like a heist film meets like the first Now You See Me movie, where there's agents who are chasing the heroes, and then the heroes keep outsmarting the agents, and the agents are kind of dumbfounded, like how did they get out of this situation? And I enjoyed all that stuff with the music being played and seeing the action sequences play out. I had a fun time. But I really enjoyed that. I really wish that the movie would have focused on more of the family aspects. Like, I feel the villain in here is just another villain. It's not as generic as most villains, you know, but she gets a backstory. We understand her purpose and reasoning for doing what she's doing, but it is still just kind of glossed over. It's like, here's the villain, then here's why the villain's doing what they're doing. Now we have to stop the villain. And it's pretty predictable and cliche, but you do have an understanding of who the villain is as a person and what they're going through. But I didn't really feel for the villain at all in this movie. I understood the reasoning, but I didn't really get enough depth with the villain to really have an emotional connection towards the villain. And so I feel like they could have just stripped the villain out of the movie. I am waiting for a day. Deadpool 2 kind of did this, but I am waiting for a day where Marvel or DC or whoever makes a superhero movie that does not have a protagonist. Or I'm waiting for a day where a movie does not have... I'm waiting for a day where a superhero movie does not have an antagonist, to where I feel like this movie, Ant-Man, just missed an opportunity to just make this a family film. Just have the movie be about, you know, Paul Rudd's character connecting with his daughter, and then you have Michelle Pfeiffer being lost in the quantum realm. Then you have Michael Douglas and his daughter trying to get her out of there, and they're getting the parts for it. Then they go in the quantum realm, and they go in there, and they have to go through all of these like different spaces in existence and stuff. And I really would have enjoyed a movie like that. I feel like they could have easily trimmed about, I don't know, 15 minutes or so off this movie, because I thought the whole villain thing was unnecessary. I mean, it made sense, but it was unnecessary. And then there's a gangster in here. I recognize the actor, I just don't remember his name, but there's a gangster in this movie who I thought was unnecessary. It made sense as to why he was there at first, but then as the movie progressed, I was like, why didn't they just make a government agent be the villain in here? Because there is a scene where there is a government agent who is, you know, on the shady side, and it's like, why couldn't they just have the gangster in the movie play that role? Because I feel like the gangster in this movie was kind of useless and just there, and there's all this stuff going on. And then there's this other FBI agent who's really funny in this movie. He's the funniest, I would say one of the funniest characters in this movie. He has a lot of good scenes in this movie, especially at the beginning when he's explaining to Paul Rudd's daughter about, why is your daddy under house arrest? And explain, you know, why did Ant-Man, Paul Rudd's character, help Captain America in Civil War. So they tie up some loose ends in this movie, which I thought was clever, and it was a clever execution of how they did that and explained it to the audience. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the movie. I just thought these small little things, like, and another thing that really bothered me was that I think the movie kind of played it too safe, and it was too easy. Like, there were some scenes in here, like there was one scene in this movie that I'll briefly spoil, where Paul Rudd is wearing a modified Ant-Man suit, and he grows and he shrinks just unannounced at times, and he can't really control it. And there's a scene where he has to go steal his old Ant-Man suit from his daughter in school, and they're, you know, at recess, and he goes in the classroom, and it's a really funny scene where he's kind of dressed up as like a child, and he's running and all this stuff, and he steals his old Ant-Man suit back. Then the bell rings, and the kids are about to come back into class, and I'm thinking, okay, how are they gonna get out of this? Like, I mean, the Wasp, you know, lady, she can shrink at will and escape, no problem, but then he is stuck at this kid size, and it's like they can't see his face because he's a grown man. And just imagine if someone were to stare at him and be like, oh my god, it's a grown man, but he looks like a kid, how did you get in here? And just be this whole big fiasco. So at that moment, when he got the suit and he was about to escape, I was wondering, okay, how are they going to get out of this? And it could have been a really cool, elaborate scene, you know, where he's sneaking out of the school, but I guess they had to keep the movie going, and so they just walk out of the school and hop in the van, and they make some joke about, oh, you know, you're acting like you're my daughter coming out of school. And I was just like, oh, that was a real missed opportunity where you could have showcased how he got out of the school. But no, it was convenient. You know, the script didn't ask for it. We have to keep things moving, and so we're just gonna make him walk out of the school all nonchalant, and he gets in the van, and then that's the end of it. And I was like kind of disappointed with that. I feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities that this movie could have taken. It could have done without the villain completely and just been about Paul Rudd and his daughter connecting, him being under house arrest, dealing with the government, dealing with Michael Douglas and his daughter, trying to get the mom out of the quantum realm. They could have easily trimmed a bunch of characters out of this movie and did something that was new and risky and fresh, and I feel like they missed that opportunity. They just hit the same beats and most superheroes with this movie, where you have your villain, and then you got your chase sequences, and then you have some scenes in here, like I said, the school scene where it could have been elaborate, like how does he escape and all this, but no, they just kind of brush over it. And another thing that did kind of bother me is like they'll have their, you know, their buildings or their cars, and they'll shrink them at, you know, at the push of a button, and it's like they're doing this in broad daylight in an open space. And how does no one see this? Maybe someone sees this and they don't report it. The movie does kind of touch on it, because there are some moments where they do get caught, but then it's because they get the people chasing them get an anonymous tip on what they're doing and stuff. So the movie does kind of point it out. Like there's a scene where Ant-Man is doing something, and he's Giant Man, and he goes past all these people who are on their laptops and not really paying attention. So the movie does kind of point it out. It's just small little nitpicks. It didn't affect my overall enjoyment of the movie, because the movie that I saw was fun and entertaining, but the movie that I wanted, they didn't do it, and I really felt like they missed an opportunity to create something that was different. But with what I got, I had fun with it. Overall, I will give Ant-Man and the Wasp an A-. I give it an A- because I had fun with it. It was exciting. I thought Paul Rudd was great in the role that he was playing. His daughter was great. Those two together were fantastic. Michael Douglas, as always, is great. His daughter in the movie, who played his daughter, she was great. Michelle Pfeiffer, you know, with what she had to do was great. I definitely felt for Hank Pym trying to get his wife out of the quantum realm. I had fun with all the scenes in the movie. All the action scenes were fun. I enjoyed the chase theme element of this movie, where, you know, you got the agents chasing the heroes, and they got this dramatic music playing. Kind of felt like the first Now You See Me movie, so it was exciting and fun, entertaining stuff. You know, it's what you expect from an Ant-Man movie. It's supposed to be a comedy mixed with some heist stuff, and it's fun, and I got that from this movie. But there were a few disappointing moments. Like the villain was cool with the disappearing stuff that she could do, and they had some good fight sequences, but I just kind of felt they didn't need the villain there. I just kind of felt like they didn't need the villain there. They could have taken the villain out of this movie completely and did something original without having an antagonist be a part of the movie. And they definitely could have did without the gangster in the movie. They could have given that to like one of the FBI agents or something, because I thought the gangster in the movie was kind of a waste. Didn't really do anything, but you know, and then doing things in the daylight, you know, shrinking and growing and stuff, and people not noticing that kind of bothered me. But it's just small little nitpicks. What I got from the movie was fun, great, and entertaining, and that's all I have to say. So as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. I would say that my favorite film of 2018 right now is a movie called You Were Never Really Here, starring Joaquin Phoenix. I think Joaquin Phoenix is a fantastic actor, and I believe that You Were Never Really Here showcases Joaquin Phoenix's acting ability in an excellent way. I would also say that, oh, fuck all that.